What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's happening with the overall market thus far, as we have more important updates coming out for the week, not to mention more updates for earnings and such. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details and talk about why on earth there is a bounce attempt in the market that's trying to happen right now, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. You deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends in just about 2 weeks. Anyways, looking at Tesla, this thing is currently attempting to bounce a bit. You can see right over here, we had this little liquidity grab all the way down here into about this 154 zone. And since Tesla got that dip yesterday, it's been slowly trying to push higher. We'll be looking for an attempt to get up to about 160 today. If we can break through this, there's going to be a nice attempt to go all the way up to about 164, at least on the 4-hour time frame. But we have to see if Tesla could try to get to at least 160. I do think it's going to attempt to do so. And we'll just have to see what it does from there. Now, ultimately, I think the market has more downside coming. I think Tesla will eventually fall to the lower 150s. SPY is going to fall to about 497. But like I said in my video yesterday, we might see a little rebound first before we get that big move to the downside. So I'll break down more details about this in just a couple of minutes. As a reminder, guys, we have some new updates that just came out, and this is why and part of why the market may have more bearish potential. And that is, with this whole situation involving Israel and Iran, I'm not going to, point fingers and say who started what. What I will say is that the situation has remained very, very tense. And, Israel wants to do a counterattack. They've been talking a lot about this, potentially doing that against Iran after how Iran launched all those missiles at Israel over the weekend. And Iran is now saying that if Israel were to do a counterattack, they're going to also retaliate very severely. So now it's just going back and forth with the threats. We'll have to see what happens right now. But Israel, once again, is in a very, very critical place. So is Iran. And this is very, very important. The situation is still very tense. I'm not going to talk too much about the past. I just want to focus on right now. It's very tense, and this is not the best for the markets. There's no sign of that cooling off just yet. Now, with data, there's not really much coming out for today during the pre-markets, but at 11:30 a.m., we have the 17-week bill auction. Look for volatility then. At 1 p.m., we have the 20-year bond auction. And then besides that, we have the Fed Beige Book at 2 p.m. That's going to be a very important economic report. Look for volatility at that time. For earnings, we had ASML that came out, and also US Bancorp, and then we have more coming out later on for the day. That's all I'm seeing for the time being. ASML, unfortunately, has dropped 5% as the sales have missed expectations, if anything. And on top of all of this, we're starting to see more changes to their overall projections. So net sales was about 5.29 billion euros, below expectations. Net profit was above expectations, but we did see a big drop in their sales. Net sales dropped 21%, while net income dropped 37%. That's why it's down right now. On top of all of this, with their semiconductor production, net sales have decreased quite a bit, and their outlook is still unchanged overall. But right now, sentiment is not as confident about that. Many of their, executives are still very, very confident for the long term, but unfortunately, things are not looking as good for them. Looking at changes in China, not to mention net sales decreasing, so that's not the best of news for them. US Bancorp, on the other hand, also had its earnings. They beat them by 6 cents. Revenue also topped estimates, and the share price is up, which is not bad whatsoever. It also saw 2 positive EPS revisions and 12 negative EPS revisions in the last 90 days. Despite that, they had pretty good earnings, and guidance was not bad, so that's why the share price is up. Now, for Tesla, I just want to say a couple of things about it. It's revealed a big update with the new changes, auto shift, Audible, and new Spotify improvements. That's very, very good stuff for people who want to drive and kind of use these features. The new software update is very, very awesome, and it's pretty cool right now. So there's going to be a lot of new controls coming out for the full screen vehicle, new playback configurations, and you can see right over here, this is what it's going to look like. Pretty cool so far. Nice little update and new changes here as well. It's also going to be a big update known as the Auto Shift Beta. It's just going to come to the refreshed Model S and Model X for 2021 and later. And this is some cool settings that's going to be coming out. This is due to the Tesla removing the drive gear stock from the steering wheel. That's very, very interesting. And there's going to be more updates like here. I'll talk more about these later, but this is pretty cool. They're also going to be using different apps as well, more integrations with them. So it's pretty cool. And there's also this news coming out that Tesla wants shareholders to reinstate the $55 billion pay package for Elon Musk, which was rejected by the Delaware courts. So that's very, very important news. They're going to be meeting up with some shareholders to rediscuss this. It's kind of difficult, I would say, during a time like this, but I wouldn't necessarily change my view quite yet. We'll just see what the shareholders say about Elon Musk, because the pay package isn't necessarily for this year. It's over 10 years starting in 2018, so it's going to take many years for this to potentially come out. Musk also didn't get paid last year, according to reports. So, with that being said, we'll see how things go with this. We'll see what on earth the others out there are looking at in terms of shareholders, and we'll see how things go. But I just wanted to break down that piece of news. Anyways, for the share prices down, let me just break down some levels and talk about how things are looking in my personal opinion. So for Tesla, we're attempting this little rebound right here. If we do push higher, look for 160 as resistance, 162, 164 to 165. That's where our 20 EMA happens to align. Then 168. For support, make sure you watch 157.5, 155, 152, and then eventually 115, 144. So I would say as of right now, Tesla's attempting to rebound a bit. Going to be looking for a test of 160. We'll see if we can break this or not. I'm seeing some potential for it to try to do so. If it manages to break 160, we could be going all the way up to 164. Just because we push a little bit, that does not mean we're going to explode to all-time highs. It could just be a little pop before we end up dropping lower later on. I want to make that as clear as possible. So look for an attempt to go higher, then we'll see how well Tesla does. I'm seeing some potential in that. For SPY, we're also attempting to rebound a little bit. You guys can see right over here on the chart, it's starting to turn. If we keep pushing higher, we're going to be looking at resistance at 506. We had that range on SPY I talked about yesterday with 506 and 502.5 as support. 506 is the resistance. If we break through this, look for a test of 507.7. If that breaks, we're easily going up to about 509 to 510. I think SPY is going to attempt to go to 506, and we'll see if it breaks or not. It might try to break this. It might actually try to push a little higher, at least from that end. I see some potential in SPY to do so. If we turn back down, look at support at 505. If we lose 505, look at 503, 502.5. And if that fails, we're going to turn back to bearish. If we lose 503, we're bearish. If we break past 506, we're more bullish. Right now, it's trying to test 506 and might attempt to go higher. So I see more potential for it, but watch for confirmation if we break 506. If we break that, SPY is going to be pushing all the way up to 507.7 or even higher levels. Excuse me. On the QQQ, in my opinion, we're currently at 432. If we push higher, 434 to 435 is coming, followed by 436. If we break down, you're going to be looking at 432 as support. And if that fails, we're going to be coming all the way down to about 420, basically the 429 zone. So looking at the chart, it's looking like it's on a slight uptrend right here, trying to push higher. So I see potential for it to go all the way up to at least 434, if not 436. But once again, just like SPY, I think that this will eventually drop to 425. Before that happens, before we come down to fill our gaps, we might rebound a bit. I think that's what's trying to do. And then we could see a big rug pull later on. So I just want to make you clear, I'm not a perma bull. I'm simply saying we're getting a little counter trend bounce before we see anything else like that. For Nvda, we're trying to push a little higher. We kind of gapped down a bit. Now we've been trying to push up since. So we're going to be looking for a test of about 885 very soon. If we break this, look for 892 and then 900. Those are going to be our targets so far. The 4 hours turning a little bit more bullish, so I could see an attempt to go very close to 892 to 900 today on Nvidia, and then we'll see what it does once it gets to resistance in this range. If we break down, watch 872 as support. If we lose that, 862 is coming. My gut tells me it's going to try to push higher, though it still has potential. For Apple, if anything, is trying to turn a bit. We're barely at 170. If we break through this, look for 171.5. If that breaks, look at 172.5. We watch to see if we could test that. If we break down, we end up losing 169. Maybe looking for a move all the way down to about 167.5. But I think that this is turning a bit, might try to push a little bit with the market. So give this a little bit more time. Just for a few more, Supermicro is still trying to hold up. I called out 1,000 to 1,020 yesterday. We're approaching that. I think it could push a little bit more. Amazon, if you look at Amazon, is trying to bounce a bit. Look at 185 as resistance. If we break that, we could be pushing all the way up to about 187. So there's potential in Amazon to bounce if we break resistance. If we lose 182, we're easily falling to 180. So watch for that as well. Meta, we're trying to push towards 507 to 508. If we lose 500, however, we could be pushing down to about 496 and eventually 490, but the chart is looking a bit more bullish. So that being said, guys, with the VIX on a downtrend, we're going to be watching to see how it reacts to our 20 EMA 17.5. If we lose that, 16 is coming, so we'll see what it does. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day. Look at Tesla attempts to bounce. We'll see if we can try to get to 160 or not. I think it might attempt to get there, and we'll see if we break it. If we break it, it has more potential. If it fails to break it, it's just going to be range bound again. So watch support at 157.5. See if Tesla can push higher, and we'll see how well it does from here. All right. So thank you for listening, guys. Have an absolutely incredible day. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one, and peace out.